how would you describe your team meetings? Productive, scheduled like clockwork each week or every 2 weeks? And you routinely discuss the big picture objectives for the practice as well as the day-to-day issues? Well, if that describes your team meetings, then you probably don't need to watch this segment. For you, what I'm about to say is the bleeding obvious. But according to veterinarian and now specialist vet practice accountant, Paolo Lencioni, for most practices, it's far from obvious. Based on Paolo's deep knowledge of the profession, he'd tell you that all too many vet practices don't have team meetings, or more particularly, they don't have regular team meetings with an agenda and clear outcomes. But he'd also tell you emphatically that practices that have a no compromise, no excuses approach to scheduling team meetings are invariably the most successful and profitable practices. Then there's a US study by Cynthia Wicciard that backs this assertion. As far back as the early 2000s, she identified a direct correlation between regular weekly or bi-weekly meetings and higher profits. Yet again, despite the unquestionable profit-producing and productivity benefits of team meetings, very, very few veterinary practices actually succeed in having them. So, what constitutes a successful regular team meeting formula? According to those super successful practices, making attendance mandatory is key. In contrast, if you allow people to drift in if and when they feel like it, it's sending the team a message that meetings don't matter. Next, successful meetings have to have a clear and tight agenda, not a gripe session or airing the same old problems for the 5th time. Successful team meetings focus on raising issues, finding solutions, and empowering the champions from within the team to make improvements happen. From our experiences, practices that do bite the bullet and dictate that meetings will be part of a no-compromise way of doing things, the reaction is always the same. Why didn't we do this years ago? You'll be surprised at how positively your new initiative is welcomed if you position it correctly up front. Interestingly, studies show that staff are motivated by being asked for their input. Indeed, they typically rate being listened to and having their opinions valued as more important than additional financial reward. The key points here are having an agenda, working on solutions for the big picture issues as well as the day-to-day ones, a no-compromise attendance approach, and importantly, ensuring those who have taken on tasks report back on their progress. Because if you don't expect and inspect, you won't get. Finally, I found this a fascinating idea. Paolo speaks of one very successful local vet client whose team meetings are scheduled every Wednesday at 2 minutes past noon. At 12:02, everybody is in the room, no exceptions. Interesting thought, don't you think? I'm Chris Newton. See you next time.